Welcome back, developers. David Moore here. Today we have an exciting topic for you, debugging made easy with Nitric's start command. Whether you're into cloud development, local debugging, or simply want to enhance your developer experience, Nitric's got your back. So grab your favorite debugging hat and let's dive right in. So here we have our terminal window open and we have the Nitric CLI installed. So let's use the new command and create a new project. Let's call it My Nitric App. And here you can see we've got 4 different templates you can use. My favorite language is Typescript, so let's go ahead and choose that. So our template has downloaded. Let's go ahead and open up our directory in VS Code. In the Nitric, TypeScript, and JavaScript templates, we package VS Code launch files for debugging Nitric's local cloud environment. Packaging the VS Code launch files within the Nitric templates brings consistency, collaboration, simplified onboarding, and version control to your debugging process. It ensures that everyone on the project can set up and debug the local cloud environment quickly and efficiently, all in a standardized way. So this launch file here will use npm to run the dev script, which is in our package.json. And this dev script is just running Nitric start as well as running the program. So let's get started. I'll open up the terminal and let's install our dependencies. I like to use yarn, so I'll go ahead and do a yarn install. Awesome, all done. So let's take a look at the code and see what we have. So we have a hello.ts file, which contains a main API, a get route, which is /hello, and then a name path parameter. And it looks like we are taking that name parameter and just sending it back in the body here. All right, guys, so I think it's time we fire this up and run and debug this application. So heading over to the Run and Debug tab, we can go ahead and click the Start Debugging button. And as you can see down the bottom in the terminal, we can see some nice information coming from the Nitric CLI. Firstly, the API endpoint, and just below that we have the dev dashboard URL. So let's just put a breakpoint on line 8 and then open up the Nitric local dashboard. So here we are in the Nitric dashboard. So we're currently on the API Explorer page, and on the left you can see an API tree with the main API folder here and the get request route here for hello name. And on the right hand side we can see the path parameters, the query parameters. So to hit our breakpoint, let's try and hit send. Oh, looks like we need to fill in our name path parameter. So let's go ahead and fill in the required path parameter. You know what, before I hit send, I'm going to drag VS Code into the screen. There we are, okay. So let's hit send. There we go, breakpoint hit. So let's hover over the name parameter, and you can see that is coming through correctly. Awesome. We can also check out the request object. All right, so let's let that go through and check out the response in the local dashboard. If we scroll down, we can see we have a 200 OK response, and we can see the hello David down here. You can also check out the HTTP headers in this tab. If we scroll down further, here we can see our request history. So in the Nitric local dashboard, we have full traceability, allowing you to track and log requests and responses. It helps you to identify issues, troubleshoot problems, and ensure the APIs are working as expected. Let's check out the last request. You can see our HTTP headers for request and response, and of course we can check out the response body too. It is also important to note that this history works not only when you send in the dashboard, but also anywhere else in the application. For example, using curl to call the API. So let's go back to VS Code and add a couple more features to our application and test out the debugging on those. So firstly, let's add a schedule. Let's call it weekly cleanup. And we could use a quant expression, but I like to use this simple rate syntax. So let's put in 7 days, and let's just return the context. And you know what? Let's add a storage bucket as well. And let's test out the new bucket notifications feature. So it was on, notification type, right, and then the notification prefix. This could match file paths or file extensions. But in this case, we're just going to do a star for everything. And let's just do a console log there as our context. So let's put a few more breakpoints in and hit save. And then our dashboard will automatically refresh. Here we go. So on the left-hand side, you can see that schedules now has one weekly cleanup schedule. If we pull up VS Code again, like that, and click the trigger button, you'll see the weekly schedule has been hit. And we can take a look at the context there with the request and the topic name. Let's go ahead and let that go through. And if we go to the new Storage Explorer, you can see we have a new bucket called My Bucket. And if we upload a file to this bucket, this nice logo here, and go back to VS Code, you'll see the write notification has been hit. And you can look in the request and see the file key. And that's a wrap, developers. We hope you enjoyed this crash course on debugging made easy with Nitric's start command. Whether you're a cloud engineer, seasoned developer, or just someone curious about the magic behind the scenes, Nitric empowers you to streamline your debugging process and supercharge your developer experience. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow developers. Also, if you want to show us your support, give us a star on GitHub. Happy coding and happy debugging.